Hi students, I am Mrs. Salamil Mangai, physics teacher, Mount Zion Matriculation Higher Secondary School. Today we are going to learn first unit in physics, electrostatics. Before getting into the topic, let us recall some of the forces about which you have studied already in 11th standard. Yes, the most powerful gravitational force, tension force, friction, normal force, etc. According to Newton, all these forces are independent of each other. He treated them as a separate natural force. Okay, now you are watching this video. Are you aware of the forces around you? What's the origin of all these forces except gravity? Yes, the forces we experience in our daily life are all basically electromagnetic in nature. But gravitational force is not an electromagnetic force. Students, it is quite interesting to know there are four fundamental forces of nature, which includes both gravitational force and electromagnetic force. Let's know in order. See, gravitational force, you are very much familiar about it. It's a force which acts between masses and it's a wide range force. An electromagnetic force arises due to interaction of atoms and it's also a wide range force. And the remaining are weak nuclear force and strong nuclear force which arise within the nucleus of the atom. Of all, electromagnetic force is one of the essentials because the technological developments of the modern 21st century are primarily due to our understanding of electromagnetism. Let us learn few more examples of electromagnetic force. You are able to observe in this slide a man pushing an object. When an object is pushed, the atoms in our hand interacts with the atoms in the object and this interaction is basically electromagnetic in nature. Let us observe the next picture. You are able to see a man standing on the surface of the earth. When we stand on earth's surface, gravitational force acts downwards on us and normal force acts upwards to counterbalance the gravitational force. You are able to see from the picture, it's W represented which denotes the gravitational force and this is N normal force which acts upwards. How the person is able to counterbalance this position because the net force is 0. This concept already you have studied in 11th standard. So, we know now realize that it is not only gravitational force but also normal force which is basically electromagnetic force. It keeps every object in this world in its balance. Now, let us learn another example for electromagnetic force. You are able to see an object placed on the surface. If it is moved on the surface, static friction resists the motion of the object. Static friction arises due to electromagnetic interaction between the atoms present in the object and atoms on the surface. See this very well you can observe from this picture. And similarly for kinetic friction. Why do we link electromagnetism with electrostatics? You know, electrostatics is the force between the charges which are not moving, that is, which exists between the stationary charges. Electrostatics. Here, electro means charge, statics means at rest. When the charges are at rest, it creates electricity. The moving charges, let us suppose that charges are moving, then that moving charges will create magnetic field which leads to magnetism. So, this electricity and magnetism are different but they cannot be separated, and it is a known fact that Electrostatic force is one of the electromagnetic force. Okay. Now let us learn what's the exact definition of electrostatics. Here in this unit, we learn the behavior of charges and other related phenomena of charges at rest. So, electrostatics can be defined as a branch of electricity which deals with the stationary charges. Now, we learn the historical background of electrical charges. In Greek age, it was Thales who found static electricity when he was cleaning his amber. That picture you are able to observe here is an amber, which is a solid translucent material formed from the resin of a fossilized tree. This amber, when it was rubbed with animal fur, it attracted small pieces of leaves and dust. This property of amber is said to be the charged property. It was initially thought that amber only has this special property, but later it was found that not only amber but even a glass rod, when it is wrapped with silk cloth, possess this property. Now let us observe this picture. Like glass, plastic is also another material. When it is wrapped with fur, it acquires charge. But before rubbing, initially the rods neither attract nor repel. But when it is rubbed with fur, it acquires negative charge. When another negatively charged plastic rod is brought closer, they both repel each other. And it is not only plastic, it is also a glass rod. When it is wrapped with silk cloth, it acquires positive charge. Suppose there are two glass rods. Before rubbing, they neither attract nor repel. But after rubbing with silk cloth, it acquires positive charge. When two positively charged glass rods are brought closer, you may experience the force of repulsion. Now we come to understand that when a plastic rod wrapped with fur is brought closer to the glass rod wrapped with silk, the both rods attract. The reason is plastic rod has acquired negative charge when it is wrapped with fur, and glass rod acquires positive charge when it is wrapped with silk. Here there exists force of attraction because they both are oppositively charged. Like we can also experience another activity by bringing negatively charged plastic rod closer to the fur. You may find fur attracts plastic rod. So what do we learn from this experience? When a plastic rod is rubbed on fur, plastic rod gains some of the electrons from the fur, and so it becomes negatively charged, and the fur, after losing some electrons, it has become positively charged, and they exhibit force of attraction. And there is a glass rod also. You know very well that when a glass rod wrapped on a silk cloth, it acquires positive charge. Because the glass rod has lost some of the electrons to the silk cloth, and so it gains positive charge and silk cloth becomes negatively charged. When silk cloth is brought closer to the positively charged glass rod, they exhibit force of attraction. And it was Benjamin Franklin who proved the existence of positive charge and negative charge. According to him, there are two kinds of charges. One is positive charge and another is negative charge. Here this is an extract from your textbook, an experiment indicating the existence of charges, and it is also an experiment to prove the law of charges, which states unlike charges attract each other, like charges repel each other. Now let us observe this figure. You are able to see a rubber rod which is already negatively charged is brought closer to the positively charged glass rod. You find force of attraction. But in the next figure you are able to see negatively charged rubber rod is repelled by another negatively charged rubber rod. You are able to see the indication of forces which are repelling. So, from this simple activity, it was proved that unlike charges, why do we say they are unlike? One is positive, another one is negative. These unlike charges always show attraction, always exhibit attractive force. Like charges, when both are negative charge or either are positive charges, they always repel each other. So, based on Franklin's convention, it is understood that rubber and amber rods are negatively charged while the glass rod is positively charged. But it is observed that any object has only zero net charge. That is, net charge of any object is zero. That means object is said to be electrically neutral. So, following the work of J.J. Thomson and Rutherford in the late 19th century and in the beginning of 20th century, it was understood that all atoms are made up of negatively charged electrons and positively charged protons and neutrons which have zero charge. The material objects made up of atoms are neutral in general. Okay, then how do they acquire charge? An object only when it is rubbed with another object. For example, rubber with a silk cloth. Rubber when rubbed with a silk cloth, or plastic or amber rubbed on an animal fur, they acquire charge because some amount of charge is transferred from one object to another object only due to the friction between them. Only due to the friction between them on rubbing. It happens only on rubbing, and then object is said to be electrically charged. So, we come to understand a definition because charging takes place only on rubbing. That charging the objects through rubbing is called triboelectric charging. Students, now we are going to learn basic properties of charges. The first basic property of charges is an electric charge You see, most objects in this universe are made up of atoms, and all atoms are made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. They are all subatomic particles. We are very much familiar with each particles, they have mass. It is an inherent property of the particle. Like mass, electric charge is also an intrinsic property, and it is fundamental property of particle. And this we know very well that, for example, if you take an electron is a subatomic particle. The SI unit of uh, charge here is coulomb. In general, we represent. But what is the charge of an electron? It is represented as minus, negative charge, since electron has negative charge. And the magnitude of the charge is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Here we represent unit, SI unit of the charge as coulomb. Now, you know very well that 1 coulomb is actually the charge acquired by 6.24 in 10 power 18 electrons. And generally speaking, in physics, we represent all electric charges either by small q or by capital Q. Let us learn few more facts about electric charges. By convention, you know, electrons are always negatively charged. Protons are positively charged. But neutrons, when you take, they have no charge. And one more concept is that all electrons are identical, all protons are identical, and all neutrons are the same in their behavior, and so they are also said to be identical. And another fact is that proton's charge is equal in magnitude to the negative charge of the electron. What does it mean? Proton and electron, they have charges equal in magnitude, but proton has positive charge whereas electron has negative charge. See, this table clearly recalls the concept what we have known as one of the properties of charges. You know, every particle has mass. Mass is an inherent property of the particle. Like mass, charge is also another intrinsic or the fundamental property of the particle. And you are able to see electron has negative charge and proton has positive charge. You are able to observe, students, they have same magnitude. Mass differs, but neutron has no charge. And it's a thing that we should wonder. It's a fundamental rule for all electrical phenomena is like charges repel, opposite charges attract. Let us recall again fact we know that two positive charges said to be like charges and two negative charges, they are also like charges, they always repel each other if they are positive charge and negative charge, they attract. And if it is an isolated charge, let us take an isolated charge, either it is a positive charge or it is a negative charge, it has electric field around it. Here the concept of electric field arises, and negative charge, isolated negative charge also creates electric field around it, and this electric field, it is dealt in this lesson deeply. So the whole of electrostatics in this lesson, we are going to learn in detail about the electric field, electric potential, and so on. Now the next property of charge, one of the basic properties of charge is law of conservation of charge. It's Benjamin Franklin who argued that when one object is rubbed with another object, charges get transferred from one to the other. But before rubbing, both the objects are electrically neutral, and rubbing only simply transfers the charge from one object to the other. For example, when a glass rod is rubbed against silk cloth, some negative charges are transferred from glass to silk. As a result, the glass rod is positively charged and silk cloth becomes negatively charged. And from these observations, he concluded the conclusions as seen in the slide. Here, the net amount of electric charge produced in any process is zero. What does it mean? Suppose let us take a glass rod. When it is wrapped on a silk cloth, the glass rod loses 5 electrons. The same 5 electrons will be gained by the silk cloth. And so the glass rod becomes positively charged and silk cloth become negatively charged. But the number of electrons lost by the glass rod is equal to the number of electrons gained by the silk cloth. And so the net amount of electric charge during this transfer process is zero. And when you take any isolated system, the total charge is always conserved, that is algebraic sum. We have to find out only the algebraic sum. When we find the algebraic sum of the charges, the total charge always remains conserved. Now, here this law can be stated as electrons are neither created nor destroyed, but are simply transferred from one material to the another. So in this rubbing process, suppose as we discussed already, 5 electrons are lost, the same 5 electrons get transferred to the silk cloth. So it is only the process of transfer, no charges are created or no charges are destroyed. That's why it is stated that electrons are neither created nor destroyed, but are simply transferred from one material to the other material. A few more facts about law of conservation of charge. An object has unequal number of electrons and protons if it is electrically charged. Yes, you know very well that, students, atoms in general are electrically neutral, but when it comes to interact with another atom, it may lose or gain electron. So in this process, definitely an atom is said to possess an unequal number of electrons and protons. Suppose it is electrically charged. When you take a neutral atom, there are as many electrons as protons, and so there is no charge. A charged atom is called an ion. An imbalance comes about adding or by removing electrons. Otherwise, it is only a neutral atom. Now, this charge, how does it happen? Just we recall, these electrons are being transferred only by friction. When one material rubs against another, the one that gains electrons becomes negative and the one that loses electrons become positive. But you should know clearly that it is different materials have different tendency to gain or lose electrons. Now, its next property of the charge, it is quantization of charge. What's the smallest amount of charge that can be found in nature? Experiments show that charge on electron is minus E and the charge on the proton is plus E. Here E denotes the fundamental unit of charge. So, just let us observe this slide. The charge Q on any object is equal to an integral multiple of this fundamental unit of charge E, and it is represented as Q is equal to NE, where N is an integer, maybe 0, plus or minus 1, plus represented for positive charge, minus for negative charge, and it is a or plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, and etc. And this is called quantization of charge. Okay. Just we will recall important properties of charges, as we have we learnt about electric charges. Next, field, concept of field, and its law of conservation of charge, which states that total charge in the universe is always constant and charges can neither be created nor be destroyed. In any physical process, the net change in charge is always 0. And charging is done only by friction, and different materials have different tendency to gain or lose electrons. And third property of charge is quantization of charge, in which it is learnt that the charge Q on any object is equal to an integral multiple of fundamental unit of charge, which is represented by Q is equal to NE. Now let us learn a small calculation based on the quantization of charge. Calculate the number of electrons in 1 coulomb of negative charge. You know, according to the quantization of charge, Q is equal to NE. It is given in the problem that Q is equal to 1 coulomb. You are asked to calculate number of electrons in 1 coulomb of negative charge. So, the number of electrons can be calculated as N is equal to Q by E, and Q is substituted as 1 coulomb, and we know very well that charge of an electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 90, and it is calculated that 6.25 into 10 power 18 electrons. Yes, and this is a part. Here in this unit electrostatics, we become familiar that electrostatic force is one of the electromagnetic forces which is very essential force in our day-to-day life, and electrostatics means study of charges at rest. When charges are at rest, it creates electricity, and that's called static electricity. In this lesson, we are going to deal in detail about the electricity, that means static electricity, and the concept of various concepts of electric field and so on. And we have a clear idea about atoms when they interact, charges produced, and what are the types of charges according to Benjamin Franklin's experiment. It was proved that existence of positive charge and negative charge, and we learnt law of charges, that like charges repel unlike charges attract each other with an activity where, with a activity of a glass rod and a silk cloth or rubber rod rubbed with fur. And it is an important fact that it is a charge. When you take charge, it is a scalar quantity, and it is additive in nature. That means if there are positive charges and negative charges in a system, isolated system, the addition is done algebraically, and charge is said to be quantized, and it is expressed with an expression Q is equal to Ne. That is, electric charge exists in discrete packets rather than in continuous amount. And here it means Q is equal to Ne. Here it means it is expressed in integral multiples of fundamental electronic charge. You know that charge of the electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 90 coulomb. And this is according to the law of conservation of charge. Charge is always conserved. Charge is always conserved, and the algebraic sum of positive and negative charges in an isolated system also remains constant. For example, a glass rod rubbed with a silk or a negative charge appears on the silk, an equal amount of positive charge appear on the glass rod, and the net charge on the silk glass system remains zero before and after rubbing, and this charge does not change with velocity also. So students, the next part of this unit will be Coulomb's law and important aspects.